At Four Bears Casino and Lodge, we want you to work for fun. We're hiring workers who will create fun for our guests and have a fun time doing it. We offer flexible schedules, full-time, part-time, anytime. A $2,000 sign-on bonus means when you're off the clock, you can afford to have even more fun. Seeing a show, exploring the epic sights, or enjoying our amenities. Are you ready to work for fun? Apply today at fourbearscasino.com.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.
The Big Truth Podcast. Laying down the hatches! Get ready!
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Yes, once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. The first one back after the tour, so I know we missed a couple weeks because I couldn't get one done while we were on the road. I tried. I even bought like a mobile setup, and we were just too idiotic on the road. So we're coming back after a little hiatus. Thanks for holding on and hanging in there. And I'm stoked to say I'm in the house here, broadcasting live from Chopperhead Custom Cycles. All the lifts are full, so we're on a table. Usually we're on that lift right there.
No.
But I'm here with my man Marc Lopes, who's been a singer in the metal world and a host of other things. He's a professional turd polisher, as we just found out. And, not in reference to music, but he's an old friend of mine from way back in like high school. And
crazy.
And we were on different musical journeys and back then, and still in the game. And you've come a long ways, and I'm actually super stoked for you, super proud. For New Bedford represent. I was trying to think about how we actually first met. I think it was through Roger Andrews.
Yes.
Back when I was back, I was still at Vogue.
Yes, it was through Roger. Yeah, because he used to do all our art.
Oh yeah,
all the art for Hammersmith.
Yeah.
The rapper kid that would like hung out with all the metalheads. It was the wildest thing, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because he's another one of those stories where he's like wildly successful right now, but crushing it in like the real estate game.
Dude, I saw that, man. Yeah, and like, and it's ridiculous how amazing of an artist he had become and is, and still does all that crazy, like all the Hasbro toy stuff.
Yeah.
That's totally
like
badass.
he was like drawing packaging for like G.I. Joe and Star Wars.
I was like, what?
Yeah. And he was doing, but back in the day, he was doing Hammersmith and ITI artwork.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And how did you first meet up with him?
Whoa. Oh.
See, for me, we were in the same cluster. You know, like at Vogue, there was like the clusters.
Yeah, the clusters. Yeah.
I was in graphic arts, like running printing presses, and he was in commercial art or one of those.
Dude, it's kind of like, we all had that common thread scene where everybody just kind of met I don't even remember. I don't remember. Hell, it's even some of my best friends I barely can remember. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is fucking pirate radio.
All right, fuck yeah.
But
yeah, I remember like I laughed. I was like the other day we were hanging out with like Jay and all those dudes, and I was like, fuck, I don't even remember. How the fuck did I meet you? We've been friends that long.
It's true. It's funny too because Jay works over at the bar with us. It's funny to still be surrounded by people that you've known since forever. You know what I mean? Like since the 80s. You know what I mean?
I don't think you don't see that. That's a discussion we had not long ago about how like we won't see people for years. I mean, look, I haven't seen you in freaking an eon.
And then we're at the gym.
Dude, we're at the gym. I'm like, what's up, dude? And it was like, I felt no different than 20 years ago. And like, that's just like, that doesn't happen with people much these days anymore, you know? So cool.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know. I hope that, and this isn't like being like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But like, I hope the younger generations get that. Cause I think like we bonded more with people back in the day because there was no internet. There was no, like, if you wanted to hang out, you had to be there and you were in physical proximity with people. Times were still a little more crazy because there was no cell phones and cameras everywhere.
Right.
So you went through some shit, bonded over that. And you had to be there and you got used to talking to people and hanging out.
Yeah.
And that forms bonds different than, and maybe, I don't know, but like maybe people will have the same kind of bond with someone they just talk to online. I don't think so, but who knows?
Remember, a fight was a fight.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
I always said that. It was like, it's like someone had a problem. It was like, it got settled.
Yeah.
Like there. No going on the internet and talking crap. And it was like, oh, what? Bah.
Yeah, exactly. It was just
That was bonding.
And then sometimes you became friends after that.
Right.
You're like, oh, fuck
dude.
All right, I got you. All right, it's cool. Yeah.
It's cool, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was funny because like, not speaking of that, it was just like, it was cool because like, it was like a weird thing because like ITI was this like New Bedford hardcore band. You guys were like the metal band, like kind of an epic metal band.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And it was like, but we were friends.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think our fans were friends.
And it was the weirdest thing. I never could understand that. It's like,
we were all cool, but like,
yeah, it was like the bands were cool, but the fans it was like, oh, he's got long hair. Oh, he'd be up. I'd be like, well, I don't, okay. Well, I kind of never really got that, It was like, it's so funny because like a lot of the guys were like, hey, let's go to ITI or something. I'm like, no, I got long hair, dude. I really don't, like, I love the band, but I'm like, I really don't want to deal with that because it's just nonsense to me, It was just like, that always bummed me out. I remember going to like DRI and stuff like that, and even that,
And that was the early days where there was like, crossover just started, and DRI was one of the
right.
It was when Suicidal, what was it like?
Yes.
Suicidal, DRI, and COC all kind of 87ish started to switch over.
Yeah,
or Suicidal maybe even a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
85, 86.
Right, and it was like you still had that. You had the old. The old guard come in and they didn't like the new guard, but the bands were like, fuck this, I'm making more money.
Exactly.
I want a single. You know what I mean?
Especially back then, there was definitely more money in metal than punk rock.
It was like, oh, Suicidal's opening for Queensryche or something. It's like, yeah, dude, that one show probably more than they ever made on a whole tour playing the older stuff. You know what I mean? I don't blame them.
Old van tour,
Right, exactly.
And but yeah, man, it was interesting times because even that, like, I remember going to some early, and I was never and I think I was talking to you about this at the gym the other day. Like, I've become the last couple of years, I've developed more of an appreciation for like death metal and stuff. Right? But back in the day, I went to a lot of old death metal shows, probably just to be a dick, or probably, you know what it was too? Is like
because that's where all the good fights happen. Usually, at death metal shows.
Those were more gnarly. Yes, back then.
Dude.
And then, like, do you remember like Pete Thoreau and all that?
Oh yeah, dude. Fucking
rest in peace. Fucking became a great friend later in life, but we were like mortal enemies back then. Like him and his crew.
Oh yeah.
And us, like, so we'd like, oh, those dudes will be over at fucking Morbid Angel. Let's fucking go. Like blah blah blah. But it was like it was more wild times. Like it was fucking fun, but and it's funny because then Pete crossed over later, cut his hair, and started wearing Sick of It All jackets, and I'm like, "What's up, dude?" Like, but I remember going to death metal shows, and it was the opposite though. Like we had shaved heads, and dudes, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
I mean, it went both ways, and it was dumb.
It was tribalism.
Yeah, it was total tribalism, And at the end of the day, it's like the funny thing is that it's tribalism. But to me, especially now, which I love, is that metal, hardcore, thrash, death, whatever, to me, it's all in one tribe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, it really, as long as it's true, that's really what it matters. You know what I mean? It was like, what was you would know this, like the appeal of the old rap that first came out.
Yeah, it was hard, and it was like street, and it was almost just like reporting life.
Exactly.
It was like a snapshot of life at that time, and there was a super overlap with hip hop and hardcore at that time.
Because
like, it was street music, you know what I mean? And I feel like that was always one of the biggest differences between metal and hardcore is like, obviously, like, usually metal guys had a lot more talent, you know what I mean? Whereas hardcore was more just like,
it was
emotion. It was emotion and feeling, but like metal dealt more with like fantastic topics, and hardcore was more street, like the stuff I listened to, and then but it was all different, But if you listen to Cro-Mag's Age of the Quarrel, that's like fucking street music, like it's like a hip hop record in a way, like like lyrically, and so that had a lot of overlap, but there was also like, I think hardcore embraced hip hop more than hip hop embraced hardcore.
Yes,
but now there's a symbiotic relation because a lot of like big MCs now are old hardcore kids. You know what I mean? So all these worlds overlap. But I think you said if someone's true and genuine and like coming from a like a real place, like people see that.
Right.
Dude, even like
any music,
weird outlaw country stuff, like if it's legit, I like it.
Dude, man.
Pop country, go fucking
exactly.
Hard. That's like literally the worst music. Other than what do they call it? Hick hop? Where, like you ever hear
I don't even
gangster country rap stuff is it's like literally the worst genre of music. My old gym, like I went in one day and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like someone's got to change this right now. Like it was like, and I hope I'm not alienating anybody, but
it's your opinion.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I remember it was on a job site and this kid, one of the dudes, loved country music, and I don't usually listen to music on a site when I was do that, and I would be like. He had country music on, and my mom is a big country fan, but old country stuff,
I like 70s.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it, But then, like the radio station started playing like this new stuff, and I'm like, dude, did that guy just try to rap in country? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, this is just weird, man.
That's called when all possible music fusion things have happened. That's the last one. Like nothing else can happen after that. Like,
well, don't even say that. Who the fuck you gonna know next, right?
And let me rephrase. When I say I like a lot of old country, I mean more like 40s and 50s and 60s.
Well, yeah, of course.
But there's some decent newer stuff. But
there's great stuff in everything.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like the crux of this talk so far is that like most of the people I know that are real musicians that are like career musicians or like real just music fans don't listen to just one genre. Like they listen to all kinds of shit. You can find inspiration or something just jives with you like no matter what it is. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like I find the weirdest thing is most people would mellow out when they get older. And the funniest thing is I listen to heavier stuff now than I did when I was like 10 years ago because I think I'm more pissed.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, hence the conversation where I am a newborn Terra fan.
Yeah.
And like the funniest thing is I've seen them like 10 times.
Like on festivals.
On different, and I was always like, wow, that sounds really cool. But I never like listened.
Yeah.
And then when I actually started to listen and I'm listening to the lyrics and I'm like, dude, I'm like, I get that. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. And the riffs are just nasty. And I'm like, wow, man, I'm like, where the hell have I been with this? You know, it was just one of those things, like I'm so over power metal right now,
when it's what you do,
but it's so ridiculously over the top. And and all respects to all those, my dudes, they're my dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love them and good for them. But some of the stuff, like I'll be watching them going, whoa. I'm like, you look like a Power Ranger, dude.
Yeah.
And then, there's 40,000 people singing along with them. And I'm like, I'm doing it wrong, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I can't speak to it. So that's the one genre, but outside of Hammersmith, I didn't dip my feet too far into
Nah,
it.
dude, it's okay, man. It's okay. It's okay.
So can't comment.
No.
But that's the beauty of like European festivals, right?
Oh,
it's like
the best.
It'll be
dude.
like Iron Maiden, Dragon Force, and like Terror, and you're like, what?
Speaking of playing Alcatraz, right?
Yeah.
It's my first European show with Metal Church, right?
Yeah.
So I look at the bill, and that's always every time I get a festival, I'm like a kid.
Yeah.
Automatically. I'm one of those guys. I go, who's on the bill?
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm psyched to play, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, who's on the bill? And it's like, oh, Powerwolf, awesome. Anthrax, great, my dudes. And then all of a sudden I'm looking and it's like Agnostic Front. Terror. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it was Slapshot and, Death Before Dishonor and like Prong. And I'm like, oh my, that's that day we're playing. And it's like, oh my God, this is the fucking coolest thing ever.
But then that's the next thing, right? It's like, oh, what day is all this on? Because
that day is our day. No, that's our day.
But for people that don't know, a lot of bands that are on these festivals, they come in, they play that day, and then they're somewhere else the next day. So you don't get to see the whole 4 days or 3 days.
Like me, I'm bummed because my drummer plays for KK Downing's band.
Okay.
And we did that thing with KK in England, and they're playing the next night, and I was all excited, but we have to go to Denmark.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
So wait, the drummer of a different band?
The drummer for Ross.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
Ross the boss. He
So Metal Church is going to Denmark, but
we should probably tell the people what we're talking about.
So far, this is showing my age. I've only referenced Hammersmith, but it'll be you'll see on the But Mark I've probably been in 5 million bands in between, but currently, give your lineup because it's a really fucking stellar lineup. For especially like metal fans are gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah. So my own band, I have my own band. We're on M Theory Audio. That's called Let Us Pray.
Now,
that's my band.
Yes, and I noticed you got a little more aggressive.
Oh, dude,
so it's a lot more aggressive.
Wait till you hear the next record. Yeah, Christ, I'm like, it's interesting. Like I said, everybody always remembered. I was like, oh, he's la la, which I still do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And always envious of that. Like so like hardcore. Like I said, is more emotional and guttural. And I was like, these guys can like really like have skills. It's like a skill set. You know what I mean? Like that. Whatever.
But I get you. And now I just want to. Everybody's like, calm down, because I'm mad all the time, But the Let Us Pray that's my band, and that is a soup of music. We talk about we call it ADHD music because we don't know what we're gonna do. We'll throw everything at you what we can, and that's our thing.
Me and Pete Benavides. This is like the first time I ran into you at the gym. I was like, hey, I saw Marc. I haven't seen him in years. He goes, oh, this is his band, and he played me. I was like, that's not Marc. I mean, he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. I was like, Marc got a little pissed off.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I got that. I'm still doing that, but my main thing is I play with Ross the Boss from Man of War Dictators. And I've been doing that for 6 years, and that's brought me. I've been to 50 countries and played in front of thousands of people, crazy festivals, toured many times, and that's awesome. But the newest thing is my jewel here is I'm now the new singer for Metal Church.
That's awesome.
And as growing up, that was one of my favorite bands growing up. So it was pretty fucking mind blowing to be in the band. Under terrible circumstances, the singer passed away. He committed suicide, but they wanted to carry the band on, and I know the drummer's a local cat, Stet Howland. He was in Wasp. He's from the Cape, and I've known him for years. And we had done Metal Church, and Ross the Boss had done some festival stuff. Okay. Overseas a couple years ago. And that's how we all get to know each other, and came out to see us play the whole 9 yards. So, I was always in touch with them. We were always like, "Dude, we got to do shows together." It's the same thing, And that was when that that unfortunate thing happened. They got in touch with me, and of course I felt weird at first, obviously, because I mean it You know, it's a terrible thing. And like, it's like, how do you had to replace 2 iconic singers.
Yeah.
Not one, but 2 that have passed on.
Yeah.
And it's like, I honestly, it was like, well, how the hell am I going to do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like, I already get enough work trying to do Eric Adams shit from Manowar. Yeah. Now I not only one, I'm going to try to do 2. And I'm like, being the idiot that I am, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Let's try. I got nothing to lose. You know, everybody hate me anyways. What's the difference? Let's try. Yeah, you know? So yeah, I got the gig and, you know,
what did you have to try out, or did they just tap you and say, "Hey, come on"?
No, it was a lengthy process. I had to do, audition some of the older material from both eras, and then I had to write with Kurt, and I think it was probably like 6 or 7 month process before, I was doing it, and I kind of like tried to keep it out of my mind because I was going through a personal transition anyways. I had stopped drinking, and I was, no, that was way before. I'm sorry. What the fuck I'm talking about? That was the Ross process. But, but I was
we'll talk about the Ross process.
Yeah, that was another process.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hadn't drank in a long time anyway, but it was just I was just going through personal craziness with life, because of the whole not touring and life changes with the whole world.
The 3 years that don't exist.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was total depression, you know what I mean?
It hit everybody in the music industry, especially hard, because like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. And it's not like you can, I mean, maybe you could, because at a certain level you can, but like people I know that were like in bands that were small tour bands, they can't collect unemployment off it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That's when like, for me, thank the gods that I have other skills. I have a shed business that I was doing, which I made more money during the pandemic than I ever did. Which was weird because everybody was home and I was out working like crazy. People were spending money wildly. It was weird, then everyone
had that extra that $600 and they had nothing to do. They were like, oh, build me a shed.
I need a shed. Yeah. And then I started a graphics video business at the same time. Because I had always done it and I had gotten a master's in design and stuff. And I was like, I might as well use it. I mean, with something else. I mean, I can't go and play. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could record at home, but that's like not really going to cut it right now. So
you're designing all the record covers now for other bands?
Yeah. I just did we have a Ross the Boss best of coming over. Best of it only in Europe. And, I designed the cover. I did the whole packaging.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
So I've been doing some more upscale stuff.
It's that DIY stuff, man.
Yeah. So
keep it in the camp.
Yeah. So that's been really cool. I've done I've done some of the Ross videos. I've done videos for other acts, and I mean, I really like that because it's another creative outlet for me. Plus, I like gear, and I'm a nerd with software and stuff. So, and plus my body's kind of wearing out with the whole shit thing. I can go to the gym every day, but working 10, 13 hours to do sheds it's getting old. But being resourceful was definitely the key to surviving that whole thing, you know?
No, absolutely. So it was like it was a long process, probably because of just the world and the state of the world.
Yeah.
And you got tapped. But so you've actually done some shows with them?
No, the first show is June 3rd in Chicago at the Legions of Doom Festival. And then we're doing like a side show the next night in like Detroit area, Token Lounge. So those would be the first 2 shows. That's going to be a doozy. You know what I mean? I mean, like we have like a couple of weeks of rehearsals before, but I'll be coming off of European Ross tour.
So you'd be primed.
I'll be fucking primed. All right. I go that, and then I fly home, go to Florida. We do rehearsals, and then we're going to start doing the live thing. We don't really, I can get into this. We have select live shows that we're doing right now because there's a lot of changes going on, I'll just say.
Sure.
With business stuff. And so, the tours offers have been coming, and so things will be happening. But, now I think it's basically proving ground. A new record will be coming out in late spring, and the live thing, how's he going to handle the old, it's going to be it's going to be the microscope thing. I'm used to it. It's like, whatever. I'm scared shitless always because I'm like, I would be that guy too. I get it. I get it.
You know, as a fan, you get it. And it's like you said, it's like, it's a weird thing, right? Because you're in one of your favorite bands from growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's already that's like a weirdness, but then the unfortunate situation of following up two people, and it's even it would be weird even if it was just like the dudes left the band or something.
Right.
But it's like you said, it's unfortunate situation. I think that the fans are just going to be happy to see the band again.
They are.
I don't think.
Yeah,
it's a different time. Like if it was like 80s, like you might have a little more like fuck you.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be. I think people are just going to be stoked to be able to see the band again.
I was. Like the response, like one thing I do, I don't read reviews. No. I don't go to social media to any feedback because I learned my lesson that you can't fight the internet.
No.
You know, I remember this, we couldn't do it with this one guy. It was years ago when I was with Ross from some dude from Spain. And he was just getting really nasty to my friends. And I turned around and said, hey, we're playing in Spain next week.
Yeah.
I said, you're in Barcelona area? He's like, yeah. I said, hey, I'll put you on the list. I'll put you on the list. And I said, all these things that you're saying, you can come say it to me. You could tell me how much I suck right to my face.
Yeah.
I go, I'm going to let you, I'll give you that. Come on down. Yeah. I go, give me your name. I'll put you on there.
Yeah.
Never showed up.
No, of course. Of course.
And then after that, I was like, dude,
yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I can't be doing that stuff. I'm like,
it's
dude,
like that with anything. Like,
it was the early years,
Yeah, and there's the loudest mouse on the internet are the trolls, right? Like you're not hearing from like the fans that love the shit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure some chime in when someone's being an asshole or whatever.
Well, that was the thing is that when they announced the Metal Church thing a couple of weeks ago, I was floored at the love.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really even know, but I mean, they built up such a great reputation doing with Ross and all the things that we've done that it helped because they already were familiar with what I already did. Yeah. So they knew what
it made sense to them. Made sense to them.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, that's a great fit and stuff, So that definitely helped. And, the little clips of the music that they heard were like, whoa, it's really heavy. Like the heaviest stuff they've done, and that was my fault.
It's the times too, man. Like you said, like if you're in an extreme music, genre, and you got nothing to be pissed off about.
Yeah,
man, I don't know where you're living. Like, like the whole world's been fucked up for the last few years. Like,
right?
Everyone got something to be pissed off about.
Yeah, it's like weird. It's like weird. We have this new Ross tune coming out that I just finished. Finished up the editing and stuff for the song today. And it's interesting. It kind of came, we're going to put it out as a digital single to coincide with the best of, because it comes out the first day of our European tour in April. And I didn't want to do it at first because I was just like, I don't like to do things half-assed. I just kind of like, I'm so busy with 50 other billion things. But and it was the first time I actually he had written a song with somebody else, vocals and melodies and stuff. And I usually kind of like to do my own thing, but I liked it. Yeah. And it was very wicked, like it's wicked, epic power metal.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I'll rearrange it and I'll use my own lyrics and, kind of give it my own tweak. And it came out really good, and I was cracking up. I was like, I didn't expect it, but it's totally like left field melodic compared to what I'm got coming out now. It's pretty wild, but I liked it just because it was different and it was fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And sometimes you never know. Like that's the thing,
I get to sing a little more.
But do you have a typical writing process?
I personally do.
And I know it might be different for every band, but you know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, well, it's a little, it's a little different. It depends. Like with Metal Church, the writing process was he had some, the core songs, and then I, worked with that. Yeah. And we ended up, writing a bunch of new stuff because he could see that I was leaning towards the more aggressive type of thing, That's about as far I can go with that.
Yeah, so just full disclosure, like the record's not out. There's no shows yet. So like you have to be careful about what you're talking.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah. But like with Ross, he sometimes has outside writers, and that was interesting because, I got my guitar player from Let Us Pray involved because I've been writing with him for like 9 years.
Yeah,
we just have this chemistry.
You have a,
you know,
thing.
I mean, literally, like it's the weirdest, like I always tell him, I go, I never not want to do this. No matter what we're doing, I never not want to do this because it's so fulfilling working with him. You just find that person that you can gel with, and it's not a boring thing. He doesn't write the same thing all the time, and that's so incredibly hard to find. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you know, sometimes Ross would come up with like a riff or two, and then I'll take it and I'll write drums to it, and I kind of arrange it and produce it. I've done a lot of producing. I produced the last Ross record pretty much myself.
Cool.
And that was wild. What an undertaking. But it was very gratifying, you know what I mean, for myself. And I did some production for the Mental Church stuff too. I did my own vocals and recorded and edited and help with arrangements and stuff with that. And with Let Us Pray, I pretty much do everything.
Do you have a studio at your house?
Yeah, I live in the fucking thing. It's a dungeon, man.
but that shows your love of music. You're involved in all facets of it.
Yes.
You get down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you're in it, you know what I mean? You get down in there. It's not just like anyone can come in. Not everyone can come in, but I'm just saying anyone can come in, write over a couple riffs or something, but you're trying to arrange the song. Do you try and get the music down first and then write lyrics?
Yeah,
to the music?
I for me personally, it's kind of weird. Like some people, I mean, they like to create off a vocal melody, right? Which is a very like common pop or rock type of thing, which is great. That's why you get all the big hooks, right?
Yeah,
which is great. But it's weird. I always got influenced by the riff.
Yeah.
You know, the beat, the riff. That was where the vibe started.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just something that's it's working. So I love that process.
To me, it almost like when you listen to it, it starts to shape the words.
Yes. And it's the vibe. And, it's like I kind of like a film writer, film director, they have this mental picture and they're painting with pictures. So we're painting a visual imagery in our heads with sound.
Yeah.
So that's how I always encompassed it. You know what I mean? Especially with like the Let Us Pray stuff, because I'm a wicked, I love movies. I'm a real big movie buff, and I love Let Us Pray is more kind of like it's like a sci-fi Blade Runner type of vibe, because I'm a huge Fear Factory nerd. I love Fear Factory. And so I always have that, I always kind of like that, but I try to deal with real issues within the context of that dystopian junk garbage future, which we're heading towards.
Every day it's closer, man.
More real than we ever thought, right? Yeah. So, I mean, those are the process that works for me. It's got to be a vibe. I have to vibe. I mean, I've turned down a lot of stuff because I've gotten offers to join other bands that are big, not super big, but good welling bands, great bands. And I was straight out going, dude, I can't sing this stuff. I'm like, I can't, I don't feel it. And if I don't feel it, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not, I admire these guys that can just go and do anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would be depressed after a day and be like, ugh.
And I feel like, even no matter what instrument it is, but I feel like it's harder for a vocalist to do that, to go do some stuff that you don't feel, because it's going to show on you, I think, unless you're like a Academy Award winning actor too on top of it. But if you play bass in a band and you go join another band and just, you could, whatever. I feel like you could fudge it along a little bit, but if you're the front man, you kind of
and I mean, they're doing. Yeah, there definitely is some front people that can, they can do anything, because they love to sing. And that's a funny thing. It's like someone goes, do you love to sing? And I go, I like to perform.
Yeah.
And I like the energy and the crowd connection. That's why I like to play live. You know what I mean? Singing, said, fucking, if I think about it too much, it's terrible. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to make sure this is, I'm not worry too much. I just want to play.
Yeah.
I think that's why I admire like the hardcore stuff and all these bands. They just yelling at the fucking, I'm like, man, I want to just yell at everything.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, I can feel that shit.
Absolutely. Fucking, so do you have a, did you ever get any training, or you just self?
I still do.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like you got it if you're going to use your voice that much.
Well, the fucking weird the thing is now, right? So I'm like, oh, well, you know, I can do all this heavy stuff now, right? Yeah. Well, now I have to do both at the same time.
Yeah, going back and forth is going to be hard.
And dude, that's a whole trick in itself.
I can imagine.
I mean, I think
because after I do like some hard stuff, I can't even like. It's like I couldn't imagine trying to hit a high note.
Right. And the thing that's interesting is that like there's techniques to singing, like, you know, all these death vocals now, right? Yeah. But how do I say this? Because I definitely am not trying to diss anything, but my mind philosophy is that there's this technique, you know, like, you can do all that stuff. Yeah. And like, you know, whatever the fucking, you cackle, whatever. And it's a technique and it's cool. I mean, it's definitely a process to get it growing, right? Yeah. But I always it's a technique. And the problem with it is everybody sounds the same. That's the part that I was always like, well, I'm like, I can't tell a lot of these people from others. I mean, it's a great technique and it's totally cool and they sound amazing, but I couldn't tell this guy from that guy from that guy. Whereas back in the day, it'd be like, oh, that's Dio. Oh, that's you know, that's Jamie from Hatebreed, or that's you know, that's Halford. You could tell they had like this. There was this identity,
distinct voice. Yeah.
So the thing that I've been experimenting with is, how do you get an identity doing that, but proper? Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was one of the things I was working on.
Is your identity going to be different for your three bands?
Right. Yeah, well, the funny thing is that's what I did with Metal Church, because I was like, man, my favorite Metal Church is David Wayne, the first two records. You know, Mike Howe was awesome, and they had this guy, Ronnie Monroe, he's great too. And they all sounded different, you know, but I was always big time.
I think that's cool because it sucks. It doesn't suck, but it's just tough. Like when a band loses a singer, however they lose a singer, and then they get a guy that's trying to do.
Yes.
And it just doesn't work because no, that was that guy. You know what I mean?
And like, that was one of the main things, one of my stipulations to do this was that I was like, look, I don't sound nothing like any of these dudes. I mean, definitely have more of a characteristic of like a David Wayne for sure. And that's why everybody's excited because they love that vibe, the old stuff. But I was like, you know, I'm not going to sound like him. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm if they want that attitude, you know? So with this record, and I can talk about this because it's technique I'm talking about, you know? I was like, how can I get that nastiness, but still be me? And Kurt was like, I want you to be you. It's a new era.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, okay, well, that kind of made me relieved, you know?
And it's cool that's where that's a good
place to be.
Good relationship.
Exactly.
Working relationship.
Yeah. And I was like, well, you can't, you know, you do your thing with Ross the Boss, and then you do your Let Us Pray thing. And I was like, well, what are we going to do here? So I studied, I analyzed, I labored. It was a long process because I wanted it to be real. Yeah. I didn't want it to be fake, you know, what we were talking about. And I somehow pulled it off with what I did, that it stands on its own, but it's still me, but you can tell it's for that band. So it's like kind of like painting different colors.
Sure.
That's how I looked at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And doing it on the road, that's going to be the next challenge because it's tough, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
but, you know, I'm sure the other thing too is that the content is different as well.
Yes.
So that makes it easier because you have a switch, your code switch to like, all right, now we're in this realm.
Yeah.
We're talking about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I can't talk. But it's a good one.
I know. Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time. Because it really stands true to what you're about. So it's
once
pretty
everything's
cool. Out and about. Yeah.
Out and about. Come back, and after you do the first tour, come back.
Rest.
And
we'll do that.
We'll do a follow up.
We'll follow up. How'd it go?
Yeah. So this is the question everyone wants to know. In Ross the Boss, do you have to wear a loincloth?
Oh my God, that's the best. The best. Funny Ross story. I love this story. It's the best. So I first get in the band, and
how did that even happen?
That's even better story.
So how do you go from from Hammersmith and then being around in the local metal scene to
for like 100 years,
and then getting into to that?
Well, that's where the drinking thing. That's the story.
Okay.
So. Funny story. I remember it clear as day. Changed my life. July 10th, 2016. I'm at a Hatebreed show in Providence. Hanging out with my dude. We're fucking hammered. I mean, we used to just go hard, right? Yeah. I mean, fucking just obliviated. I get home. I don't know how I got there. Yeah. I'm like, dude. You got to stop, man. I'm like, you're pushing the envelope, and it was getting like it was like chasing the dragon. Yeah. I was always chasing the dragon, and I could never catch it. And it was just getting worse. And I was like, dude, you're going nowhere. I'm like, we got to make a change. I stopped dead that day, and about 2 months after that, in that 2 month time, I had taken my van and I went up the whole coast of Maine by myself and slept in my van, just soul searching for real, Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, we're straightening some shit out. We got to figure some stuff. So anyways, I go to see Death Angel. Yep. And I knew the guys, and one of their friends, we started talking. He's like, oh, I got a band, and blah, 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 opening up for Ross the Boss. And he's like, I might need somebody to fill in. You play like Accept and Queen. I'm like, yeah. It was on Long Island and stuff. And at the time, I just was happy to do anything, you know? Yeah. So he's like, come on down, and I was like, I wanted to do it because it was something different, and it was like I'd never seen Ross play, and he was playing all Manowar stuff, and I was a huge Manowar fan growing up, Sure. So I went and played the show. It was fun, and Ross was playing, and he had this other singer that was really killer. His band was great, and Ross was a dick. He was such a dick backstage. I fucking was like, fuck this guy, I'm leaving. And I left, So he knows this, by the way. Yeah. I always laugh. I'm like, dude, you were such a dick. Is
it just an off night?
I don't know. Yeah, he could still be a dick. Yeah. We love you. But so that same band says, hey, we're doing another show with Ross, and he's like, would you be interested in doing it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, I'll come out and do it, whatever. So about a day later, I get a call. And he's like, hey, can you, do you have your passport? I'm like, yeah, I didn't. He goes, can you go on tour? Yeah, sure. Do you know the Manowar catalog? Yeah, I didn't. And I'm like, whatever. He goes, Ross might be, looking for somebody. I'm like, yeah, whatever, cool. Yeah. Long story, we'll shorten it here, is I went and did the show. And he asked me if I wanted to play in the band, and he was like, oh, we're going to be going on tour, like, in like 3 weeks. And the first show's in like a week. And I'm like, okay. It was like in this little fucking barbecue place in New York. It was weird, but that was the warm up. I'm like, all right. So I like rushed, got my passport.
Yeah. Luckily in Boston, you can do that thing where you can get it in a day or so.
Luckily it was like back when you didn't have to wait. I had it expedited. I had it in like 3 days. Right. And then like, here I am, like, I'm going to have to use a teleprompt. I'm scrambling. And some of the stuff I didn't even know. Yeah. So we did the first thing. And
you just motherfucking your way right in there. Right?
Oh,
like,
dude,
I know that.
I know that shit. I fucking
do it.
Yeah, dude.
I shit that shit every morning.
Oh, dude, literally, it gets better, right? So we do the first show, and it was fucking awful because I didn't know anything. Well, a video got out of it.
Oh, no.
Dude, and let me tell you something. Man of War fans are not fucking...
I can not imagine them being a forgiving lot.
They're not a forgiving lot. Go fuck yourself. And I say that out of love. Well, not really, but I'm just kidding. So it was like automatically, it was just brutal. And I was like, you sure you want to do this? And he's like, nah, man. You know, once you get used to it, you know, you'll do it. Dude, we go out, the first freaking tour, we're down South America, Mexico City. I'm like, dude, I'm still reading off the fucking teleprompter. Dude, it was learned by trial of fire.
Yeah.
That was it. It was like, I never toured. I never did these songs.
I was going to say, did you ever, have you before that with any of the bands?
No, never toured like
Especially
this.
First tour down South America.
Oh yeah, dude. It was like this freaking like 14-date all over El Salvador, Guatemala, playing with Belfagor, all these fucking wild shows. I'm like, dude, I have no idea what's going on, you know? And, you know, and from there was go to Europe. We had like freaking like 45 dates to do and playing festivals. Dude, I did not know what the fuck I was doing, but I never let anybody know.
Yeah.
And I just did it.
Good thing you had a teleprompter.
Yeah, once I started to get used to it, you know, but you know, it took a while. I almost ditched it.
How many shows did it take before you felt like, all right, cool?
Honestly, dude, it probably was like a couple of years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it took a while because, dude, I just never had time to get my foot comfortable.
Yeah.
Because it was a constant all the time.
Just moving. All right.
Yeah,
right.
And it was. Yeah, dude. It was like when you get home, it was like you had to go back to life.
Yeah.
And then you still had to do that, and it was a very, you know, crazy thing. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that chaos. And you know, it was brutal. I had to tough it out. Man. There was definitely some days I'm like, fuck this. What am I doing? This is crazy. You know, I mean, everybody hates me, man. But, you know, at the end, put it this way, I think my reward was last summer. There's a festival in Barcelona called Barcelona Rock Fest. It's like a 50,000 freaking thing in the middle of Barcelona. It's fucking great. So we had played, you know, that festival with Ross, you know, probably like a couple of years, 3 or 4 years prior. And it went well, you know, it went good. And we toured Spain a lot and always did pretty good in Spain, you know. So Man of War was supposed to be playing Barcelona Rock Fest last year. And at the last minute, they canceled.
Oh.
Okay? So that was one of the headliners, and the promoter was everybody was freaking out because they don't do many things like that over there. And, you know, people are paid, you know, just abuse.
Sure.
So everybody online, social media was like, dude, call Ross. He'll come and fucking do it. Fuck Man of War. You know what I mean? I was like, and I'm like, I remember seeing some of that and going, yeah, whatever. You know, that's crazy. They called us last minute, and they're like, dude, they want us to come, you know, fill in for them. I'm like, what? Like, dude, that's like 4 days from now. You know, I mean, luckily we had all, you know, we were playing, so it was fine. But it was like, well, we're going. I'm like, well, good thing I make my own schedule. Sure, let's go. Yeah. So we go, and literally we were supposed to go on at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
After Merciful Fate and Blind Guardian. Now, the craziest thing is I get to meet King Diamond that day.
Yeah.
Who, for me, was like a huge moment.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that helped the day.
Yeah.
But it was like, I was so...
Was he cool?
Dude, he was super cool, dude. We were we talked gear.
Yeah.
We're like talking about in-ears and monitors and the writing process. And, you know, because I had done a cover of a King Diamond tune with Andy LaRock.
Okay.
And he was there. So Andy introduced me to him. So that was like, whoa.
So it was a cool introduction. It wasn't just like, hey, what's up?
Right.
Backstage.
Yeah. It was really cool. He's strolling his kid in full makeup. He's strolling his kid. I was like, dude, what?
That was something you should have snapped a picture of.
I did. I got a picture of that. That was fucking badass. Yeah. And he was super cool. But so that, you know, that made for a very cool thing too. But so it's like, all right, so Merciful Fate, we're playing on this thing, after them. Anyways, so, you know, we're going to go on at 1:30. I'm like, all right, whatever.
It's a late ass.
I'm like, dude, everyone's going to fucking leave, right? Yeah. So we're waiting. Fucking Blind Guardian decides that they're going to play longer because they're Blind Guardian. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I get it. Blind Guardian, cool. So at 1:30, 1:45, 2. I'm like, you got it.
That's crazy.
I'm like, dude, what
that's
the
fuck? Now that's borderline disrespect.
I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. Crazy part. 2 o'clock comes. I'm thinking everybody's going to leave. The whole fucking crowd shifted to the second stage and more people came from the camp out in. And I was like, do they think Manowar's playing still? I'm like, this is really fucking weird. So I had designed this motion logo. Yeah. And they had this big screen. We had never used it before. I just did it before I left. Yeah. And it literally was the coolest. It went on. It was like a fucking 100-foot screen. And I looked up and I went, whoa. I'm like, dude, it's like we're legit.
Yeah, because you did it. So it's like, it's like, all right, this is badass. And it's my band's about to go on.
Right. I'm like, wow, that's legit. And the place went fucking nuts. And I was like, now I'm fucking really nervous. Yeah. You know? We start playing the show and the place is going nuts. And then there's one part of the show where the audience will come in and sing this really like mellow, very anthemic, very prominent Manowar tune. I have it on video. The whole place sang. 50,000 people sang.
It's crazy.
And that was the greatest live experience I've ever had in my life. That was the day I was like, okay, well, I guess, you know, this is cool. This is really fucking cool, yeah, man. You know, and I was like, I think it took a week to come off of that high.
Sure. That's great. Yeah, because one thing, it's cool, like, you know, like a couple thousand people, whatever, it's sort of, but I can't imagine like 50,000 people singing a fucking song that you're on stage singing. You know what I mean? Like, that's bananas.
Yeah, that was a watery eye moment for real, dude. It was just kind of like, it was like I said, and the Spanish fans are super passionate.
Sure.
And that's
culture there, right?
Yeah, dude. You nailed it, dude. Yeah. That's the difference. Everybody goes, well, you know, how come the crowds are so different there? I'm like, dude, it's culture there. It isn't just something you do on a Saturday. That's their life. Yeah. That's what they do. That's their thing, you know?
Yeah. That's fucking rad.
So yeah.
So when you go out with Rasta Boss, you still do like a mix of Manowar and new songs?
We do, believe it or not. I mean, and I knew this was going to eventually happen. It's pretty much mostly all Manowar.
Okay.
And that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes we'll get to do some of our own stuff. And unfortunately, like hardly anybody knows it. Yeah. You know what I mean? They put a lot of work into it, you know?
Sure.
I try to give them a new identity, you know, to bring them up to the thing. And we did, you know, but that's all politics and stuff. And the thing is that, you know, you go and book these things. They're like, are you going to do a Manowar set? If you're not going to do a Manowar set, we're really not interested. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like.
And you got to work.
And and I said, and I remember for a while, I know that he was upset about it. And I said, it would be different if they weren't your songs.
Yeah.
Always remember that. I said, that's your legacy.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? I'm like, dude.
They still want to hear your stuff.
Exactly. I said, dude, it's your legacy. You created the best era of that band anyway, and you get to still do it, and people still want to see it. And we have fun doing it, and it's great. I love doing it because it is fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's like, I'm like, you know, I guess at this point you should just be happy we're playing still. You know, we get to do stuff like that because it's, you know, unfortunately we're not doing it on new stuff because that's just how it works sometimes.
Hard to break, yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'm grateful to do it. You know, that was a big thing. It was like, now that you're in Metal Church, you're going to quit Ross, and I'm like, no, I said I'm not. I mean, if it comes to a point. It might have to make a decision at some point. I hope that's not the case because we're doing everything we can to make sure that's not the case.
That's something I was going to ask about is like, because I got multiple friends that are in multiple bands. Like, how do you, and now, but this is a different level, you know what I mean? How are you going to work out the tour scheduling and things like that?
Well,
you might be a busy dude.
Oh God, yeah, dude. Yeah, the schedule's insane. But it's like, for now, like, everybody has to be super transparent with scheduling. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like no one can do, it's like respectful of, are we available here, there, and everywhere? And, I mean, I hope it doesn't come to it, but obviously there would be a point where it might have to make a decision where, it's like, fuck, I really, I got to do this, it's
one or the other,
I'm one or the other, and money talks.
At this stage in the game, he paid enough dues, man. It's weird. It's like, but it's not like, because I don't think anyone listening to this would be, oh, that's sellout. Because because you're still doing something you love.
Oh, absolutely. But hey,
and it's like you have to make a choice, and you paid enough dues in life, and we're at a stage where it's like there ain't no retirement, like 401ks, fucking blah blah blah. Like you got to fucking make money when you can. You know what I mean? And
it's like, dude, it's like make money and make your own 401k now. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm saying all this with nothing but respect, because I will play in both bands until the end of time if I can. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You guys are playing in front of 30 people or 50,000. You don't give a shit. Like, it's because you like to play.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm going to be doing that next week. So it's different. I get playing in front of 40 people. It'll be great.
Why is it like a limited show, like just like a showcase type thing?
Well, no, it's Ross is not very popular in the United States.
Yeah.
So we're going and playing a festival in Houston with like Possessed and Omen and Liege Lord, and it's fucking gonna be cool. I'm so excited. Celtic Frost. They're doing Celtic Frost and a Hellhammer set and all that shit, which is I'm totally.
Is it all the dudes? Is it like?
I think it's just Tom.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's the only one left anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, we're going to do that, but they added a couple of other shows, and I'm like, it's just make a couple extra dollars. And just basically,
if you're going to be out there and fly out there, do some.
We're going to do it to warm up for Europe. You know what I mean? But you know what? You go in with the mentality. It's okay. It's like a dress rehearsal. You know what I mean? But, it's definitely a different vibe.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's not 50,000 Spaniards singing your song. Yeah.
But you know what, dude? You go in there, you play like it matters.
Of course.
Always,
Because those people still paid money to see your show.
And that's it. That's it.
Now, so your first tour was South America. How did that?
Oh my God.
Was it a bus tour?
No, fuck no. It was a fucking terrible. We had this fucking van that had no shocks. Dude.
You're going through some weird mountain roads and shit, like looking over the edge.
Literally, it was like, I remember we were traveling between, I think, like Guatemala to El Salvador or something, lovely trip.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think any of the road was ever flat. No. It was constant, dude, for 8 hours. I literally thought my brain was just going to fall out. It was like literal insanity. I was like, well, hey, it started off really shitty. Welcome to Torn. Can only go up from here,
Yeah.
And it did, thankfully, it pretty much did, but it took a long time. But
those Central and South American fans are fucking.
Oh yeah,
they fucking love it.
Fans are great.
Yeah, I know. Even like a lot of the hardcore bands, like will do that, like Central. Mesoamerica, Central.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking
America.
great. Like, it's quiet. And talk about weird bills. Like, dude, we did like a week of shows with Belfagor.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember Ross going, they're like a devil worshiping band, right? And I'm like, oh yeah. I go, but they're the real deal. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you'll see. So we're playing in, I think it was Guatemala, right?
Yeah.
A fucking best story ever. He goes, it's like basically it's like, all right, you have to go to the venue. You can't leave the premises. The premises has 20-foot walls, armed security, barbed wire. You can't leave the premises. Okay. So we get there, we're thinking, dude, literally plastic lawn chairs and a fucking table like this. That's your backstage for everybody. So everybody's just hanging out like for hours. There's nothing to do. Watch some of the bands or whatever. Right? You couldn't go anywhere really, you die. So all of a sudden, this guy brings in these cases of these coolers, and I go, hey, I heard about something. I go, what is that? They go, you want to see? And I'm like, oh yeah. Fucking opens up his fucking pig head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that real? They're like, yeah, dude. I'm like, dude, I want to take a picture with it. Fucking take it up. I'm like, yeah. So they were using real pig heads on stage and had real pig's blood, like the real deal.
Yeah, yeah.
They had it brought in, right?
What a fucking rider that is. Like you put Belphegor and they're like, okay, we need 12 pounds of pig intestines, 8 fucking bags of blood, and 2 heads or something.
Right, and the thing is like they only could do that in certain countries because
of course,
that's not totally not the health board, you know.
Yeah. They can only do it in countries where there's no health code whatsoever.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So you know, Ross is bored. He's having a few, and we're hanging out, and I'm fucking with him. I like to fuck with him because when he gets hammered, he's funny. All of a sudden, he goes, "What's that smell? It can smell like incense and stuff, right?" And I go, and I hear, I'm like, "Oh, dude, no way." I go, "Dude, they're in a ritual." He goes, "Get the fuck out of here." He fucking goes around and he looks. They're smearing blood all over themselves and they're doing like these chants and shit. And I looked at him. I go, "Dude, I told you they were the real deal, man."
And it's funny. That's like when like the New York comes out of him. Probably was like, "What the fuck is this?"
He's, "What the fuck, man?" He's like, he turns around. He goes, looks at me. He's like, That's fucking wild. I mean, I told you they were the real deal. I go, at least they're not posing.
Says the guy swinging swords and fucking.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, says the guy that's swinging swords when he was back in the day, humping his guitar and shit, right? I'm like, okay.
But I bet those dudes were the nicest dudes.
They were great.
Yeah.
They were totally cool, man.
When I went out,
and I always had fucking hot chicks with them. I was like.
People are drawn to the dark side.
I was like, I go, "Oh man, that's a good gig."
Yeah. Fucking. I forgot where we were. I think we played Brutal Assault in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
I was out with Blood for Blood, and there was all those like Watain and all those.
Oh God,
they were like the best guys. They were like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah,
like, nice guys and shit, like covered in fucking smelling, covered in blood. Like, what the fuck's wrong?
Yeah, and they're back in their trailer listening to like Euro pop and shit. It's
weird.
wild.
It's
yeah,
and then you're like, okay, that's how Ghost is so big.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna catch slack for that because so many people love him. I'm like, I just don't get it.
Again,
everyone each your own. Each your own.
Yeah.
Isn't that what that whole do what that will or whatever?
Yeah, do what they will, man.
Yeah. But I just don't get it. I'm like, I saw the best meme. It was like, looks like this and then sounds like this, and it was like, it was Ghost.
Yes.
And then it was like, but sounds like this, and it was like ABBA.
Dude, well, it's funny you said that.
I know not all the records are like that.
No, but it's funny because there's a lot of bands coming. I just saw some new band the other day on a bigger label, and you know they're all like, they all got like these crazy like evil costumes, and I'm like, oh man, it's probably gonna be really pretty badass heavy, dude. I'm like, what is this? Yeah. It was like happy.
Did the record get put in the wrong sleeve?
I was like, dude, it was like happy pop freaking metal stuff. And I was like, wow, dude. I'm like,
it's a weird world.
I was like, I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
I go, but it didn't mesh.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing Dark Side here.
Yeah. So is in between stuff, are you still pretty active with Let Us Pray, like playing shows and stuff?
Well, no shows because we don't have a lineup anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
I pretty much, it was pointless because the material is so complicated.
Yeah.
We couldn't keep people.
Yeah.
And, people were starting to get the illusion that because I was in the bands that I was doing, that we were automatically going to do all that. Like, oh, when we playing Vok? And I'm like, what?
Do you guys get offers and stuff now?
I mean, no, because we haven't been active. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And what we've been doing is, it's interesting is that, in 2020 when everything got shut down, we were like, all right, well, we're going to record this. We'll record our album now. Cause we had been working on material for a while, and we started doing it, but John being John, he's constantly writing. So it went from, we had an album's worth of material, and then we had a whole new album's worth of material, right?
Yeah.
And then as we were doing that, we had another album's worth of material. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so what we ended up doing is, I'm like, all right, cool. This is what we're going to do. I said, we're going to do the record ourselves. I said, between you and I, we can play every instrument. And what we're going to do is we're going to start recording, and record until once we have an album's worth of stuff, that's the next album. After that, we're going to keep going. So we made a deal that we were always just going to record. So it's not like, hey, let's record this album and then go. Yeah. We're just always going to record. So we have enough material right now for like 4 records.
Yeah.
So what we did was I said, look, we have a contract to fulfill. We got to put this album out. So I'm like, all right, we have these songs. This is the new album. So the music is all done. I'm working on as soon as I finish this Ross thing, I start recording the vocals. And I produced everything. So all the music's done, the keyboards, all kinds of, a lot of different things going on. So what ended up happening is we started writing these tunes that they morphed into something totally different. Heavy, but has a very industrial synth vibe, but not in a poppy way.
Yeah.
You know, but we're mixing it with thrash and like we're doing all these really interesting things. And I was like, that's its own thing. It doesn't fit with this. Yeah. So what we're doing is
as a side project.
No, it's the third album. Okay. The third album is already almost done.
Yeah.
But it's totally a different concept. So we're making it so that this is going to tie into it.
Okay.
As stylistically wise, we go so deep it goes over everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
How many records are left on your contract?
We have 1.
Okay.
So you know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like we already have the bargaining tool. And now that I'm in a position where I'm in, you know, people are already starting to get more interested in Let Us Pray.
Sure.
And so it's definitely a good thing. And will we play? Absolutely. But we were laughing. I'm like, now we don't have to worry about trying to find local dudes. I'm just going to call all my friends and all my friends' bands and say, hey, you want to come and play with Let Us Pray for a couple of weeks? Yeah. You know, this guy from that band, I'm like, we're done with the whole, you know, calling up local Joe fucking guys that don't know whether they got to go to work or not the next day. You know, I'm like, nah, dude, we don't get to do that no more.
Calling people that are like full-time musicians.
Right. Yeah. Like we were cracking up like you know, I said, one of my favorite bands is Fear Factory. And their drummer is like a really good friend of mine. Yeah. And I'm like, a lot of the stuff we do is like Fear Factory. I'm like, I'm just going to call him to play.
Why not? You know what I mean? Especially if it works out like that. You get that sweet spot where nobody's doing anything.
Yes.
You'll be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah.
I go, dude. I go, trust me. You pay. The dollars talk, man. Everybody will play.
Yeah. But you know, it's cool, man. I'm stoked that you got to this level because, like I said, you put in so much time and work, and it's like weird. And I've tried to tell people this through the years. It's like you just got to do it. You got to be there. You just got to be there. And that's what it was. You were driving around, right?
What do they call it? There's no such thing as luck. It's called being prepared when an opportunity happens.
And also just fucking believing in yourself enough to be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I know all that catalog when you didn't. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah. That's fake it till you make it, baby.
But, you know, just having to like, fuck yeah, dude, this is it. I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's really, I mean, you just have it was kind of like one of those things. It's like, dude, if you don't, you're never going to get this opportunity again.
Imagine right now, right? You said no.
I've been
and you'd be hanging out and you'd be like, dude, I'd turn down the thing. And then you're going to see that dude, whoever it is, like doing all these, doing that show in Spain.
Right.
And you're like, dude, that would have been me.
Yeah.
I should have just, why didn't I fucking do it?
Isn't that wild? It's like they always say that, you know, that whole, you know, that a decision that takes only a fraction of a second to make a decision to change the course of your life.
Yeah, that totally put you on a whole different path.
Changed everything.
The path that you were primed for your whole life.
Yeah.
By doing music your whole life.
But the thing that's interesting though, had I not stopped drinking and decided to change my life.
Yeah. You wouldn't have been out there.
Even though that opportunity was there, I would have fucked it up because I would never have been able to tour and handle those lifestyles.
Honestly, though, if you hadn't quit drinking, you probably wouldn't have been there at that time and got that call.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or had the wherewithal to jump on. So on that first tour, that South American tour, what was like the craziest thing, or like what was the point where you're like, fuck this, I'm flying home? There's got to be one point where you were like, what the fuck is this?
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's got to be one or a couple of standout ones. Like, because I love tour stories. It's the funnest shit. It's like anything. It's the worst thing when you're in it, and it's the funnest to talk about afterwards. Because you're like, it's like, you're wearing your wounds, like, you know.
Okay, good. You like that? After this one, I got one for you. You're gonna fucking love this one. In Guatemala, that was like fucking like, whoa, that was crazy, you know, because like we couldn't leave. It was basically you were building a fortress, right? So that was kind of weird, and then like traveling through all the side country, going through borders, and that was weird. That's always weird. Funky, you know.
Especially the like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, Americans. Oh, great. Yeah, thanks, awesome. I don't know what you're talking about. So the last show was in El Salvador, right?
Yeah.
So we go to the hotel, and I have an armed guard outside my door with a shotgun. And I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, he has to stay here. I'm like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
He goes, he's okay. And I'm like, man, I can't even leave the fucking room. What the hell is this? This is fucking wacky. I didn't sign up for this.
Now, was that to keep you in the room, or was that?
That was just to protect me.
Yeah. But if you left the room, would he follow you with the shotgun?
He would go as far as to the premises, and then he said, "You're on your fucking own." I don't blame him, right?
Yeah.
If you're dumb enough to go, then you're dumb enough to go, right?
Yeah.
So that, so I was like,
that's a good record title, Dumb Enough to Go.
Dumb Enough to Go, right? So I was like, all right, well, that's, I'm like, all right, well, this is already starting off well, right?
Trapped at the hotel. Yeah.
So we go to the venue. The venue is like really nice, and it's a really cool venue. The show was great. It was the last show. Everybody's happy. It was cool, right? So I'm like, we're talking about getting, transportation to the airport the next morning, right? So for some reason, I go, wait a second. I go, what month is it? They're like, oh, it was it was September, right? And I go, 9, right? 9. I go, dude, why the fuck does my plane ticket say 10? I'm like, my flight says I'm going home in October, a month from now. What the fuck is this? They're like, I'm like, dude, you better fix this. I'm like, what the fuck? You're freaking out, dude. I'm not fucking staying here.
Yeah.
So the promoter comes up and he's like, he makes a call. He goes, we'll get you a flight in like a day or two. You could stay here. I'm like, no, I'm not. I go, I got an armed guard outside my door. I'm not fucking staying here. No fucking way. You guys are going to sell my body parts and shit. Fuck you.
when everyone else is gone and it's just you.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, fuck you. I go, I'm finding, I looked at Ross. I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit. What you going to fucking do? I'm going home with you guys. So fucking, I insisted. I'm like, I don't care what it costs. I go, this ain't my fault. You know what I mean? It just got in the band. And that was it. Nice guy was off. I'm like, I'm making demands. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Freaking go to the airport. And good thing I caught it, because if I would have went to the airport to try to go home with that, they would have they probably would have arrested me or something. You don't have to, So luckily I was able to pay through the asshole to get through, but I got home. Yeah. But that was sketchy. I'm like, dude, I'm not staying. I'm gonna get stuck here. So literally, this is how crazy it got. That we luckily had a friend that worked for the government that had me all set to go to the U.S. Embassy
to stay there
if I couldn't go home, because I was not staying anywhere. I was going to the embassy, dude. I was like, fuck that, man. Much too much TV.
Yeah. Now, if you want to hear another funny, I believe it was El Salvador as well, tour story. Listen to the Brian Harris from Death Before Dishonor episode. Where he talks about it.
Oh, see, there you go.
I believe it was El Salvador. It was somewhere in that area, you know what I mean? If it wasn't El Salvador, it was Nicaragua or something.
Best part, we were supposed to go back to South America next week, right? One of the shows was in El Salvador. I'm like, dude, are you serious? I'm like, luckily it got canceled. Thank God, because it's crazy down all that now. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, are you paying me triple hazard pay on this one? I'm like, this is kind of crazy, but I'm like, I mean, it sucks too because the fans are great.
Yeah, of course.
It's just all the crazy politics and freaking the way things are. It's just insane.
Instability and the craziness of the environment. Yeah.
So the scariest tour story, Serbia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eastern Europe can get hairy too.
Yeah. So this is what you call just, not knowing, right? So we played Serbia, killer show. It was great. People out there are great.
Yeah. Oh, the fans, like when we didn't do Serbia, we did like Czech. And
Czech's
Hungary,
great. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even Poland, like people went fucking apeshit.
Poland's great.
People are animals out there. They love it. They love it.
Absolutely. Great fans. Yeah. So we do the show in Serbia, and one of the dudes that was at the show, he owned an underground metal bar. And he's like, hey, while you guys are invited, we're gonna have an after party for you guys. Everybody from the show's coming, and it's totally free. Don't worry about it. I own the place. So hold on. All right, cool. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna go. Everyone's like, nah, I'm not gonna go. I go with the sound guy. I'm like, dude, come on, Renee, let's go. He's like, nah, dude, I'm kind of tired. I'm like, well, it's kind of not it's kind of disrespectful. I'm like, they're doing this first. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So I go, and it's fucking great. People are awesome. Yeah. All kinds of people hanging out. Everybody's having a good time, singing. It's great, So fucking 4 a.m. I'm like, fuck, I gotta leave in an hour or two. I gotta get back to the room.
Bus call or whatever.
Yeah. So I go. I'm like, all right, I go to leave. So I was hanging out with one of the girls. She spoke the best English or whatever. She was super cool, and she was kind of like helping me. She's like, all right,
navigate.
Right. She's like, all right, you got to make sure you take a cab. And she goes, but make sure, they don't charge you any more than this amount because they're going to try to fuck with you because they know you're American. And I'm like, okay. I go, well, I only had like X amount of their money on me. And I'm like, oh, all right. So in my head, I grew up in the projects and stuff like that. Yeah. So I start thinking kind of streetwise, right?
You're like, I know what's going on.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm going to pull out my map. I know where we were. And I go, where am I? I go, fastest route. I'm going to keep it on my phone so it's open, right? I'm like, okay, just in case I have to.
Taking weird roads. Like, you don't need to go down that alley.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, what's up?
So I'm like, okay. So I go outside, and it's kind of like a city square, and like a big rotary with a monument, very beautiful, right? But there's a lot of like clusters of young gentlemen.
Yeah.
Not the metal origin.
Yeah.
The freaking Euro pop fucking thing going on, right? So I'm like, it's 4 a.m. Why are these people staying hanging around? So I'm like, here, I'm the only guy with long hair. I was kind of like a little wary. I'm like, all right, whatever. Cool. So I'm trying to get a cab. I can't get a cab. Everyone's pretending they can't speak English or whatever. So I started seeing people like they're looking towards me. Yeah. And I'm like, now I'm prey right now. I'm prey. And I'm like, okay. So I got my map out, and I'm like, if I got to book, I'm booking. I know where I'm going to go, right? I'm like, no one's going to fucking fuck this. I'm out of here. So luckily, the girl comes out. She goes, what's going on? I go, dude, you got to get me the fuck out of here. I go, then no one's taking me. And I go, shit's getting weird. And she starts looking around. She goes, you got to get out of here. I'm like, fucking great. Right. So she's yelling at this cabbie dude. Yeah. Like literally yelling. And, she's like, finally, he's like this old guy. He's just fucking he's like fine, like basically. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And I told him he was fucking like cranky old fucking bastard, right? Yeah. I was just happy to get out of there, right? So we drive in, and I'm looking at my map. It's going the right way. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I go, you could stop here. I fucking jumped up. I go, fuck you, man. I fucking ran my back. I didn't pay him. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that was sketchy. I was by myself, and there was like 30 different people. I was like, they're gonna fucking.
But you see them circling like wolves. And
yeah, dude.
ready. Yeah.
I'm like, but the best part is I find out that the girl that was helping me out, she was like a state kickboxing fighter.
Yeah.
She's like, I was like, oh, well, we should have just took some people out, man.
Should have just been like, you should have been like, here's some money, just navigate the cab for me.
Yeah.
Talk. I won't say nothing, you know what I mean? Just so they don't know.
Yeah, so that was probably the only really sketchy thing that happened. I was lucky to get out of that one, I was like, but I was just like, I'm like, I won't do that again.
Yeah. It's crazy too because it's misleading because like a lot of those places, like the architecture, everything's so beautiful. You're like, oh, it's a fucking nice area. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, and it's too bad. It's like like I went on vacation to Prague last year with my girlfriend in Romania, and it was amazing. But I didn't go out at night, and I definitely very, very observant. I just, we went on like this ghost tour thing at night in Prague, and it was amazing. But when we were walking back, dude,
was that in Old Town?
Yes.
Yeah, I walked by that,
dude.
I was like, oh man, if I had time, I would do this. I saw that,
dude. It was the best. It was so much fun, man. It was really. It was like 2.5 hours, and they just basically you walk around all town, and they tell you all the legends and where they are, and you just best way to see it, Yeah. But walking back, mostly tourists, but still, it's just you're very edgy, It just sucks that you have to be like that today. You know what I mean? It sucks, It's like I feel safer walking here, fucking New Bedford, right?
Yeah. Even New York, like where daytime crime is back. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
After the last couple of years, I know it's settling back down, but
but I don't know. It's pretty wild still, though, man. Yeah. I go to my girl lives in L.A.
Yeah.
Fuck. Luckily we don't live like in LA. We live off in a different part, but this fucking Wild West, dude. Yeah. It's crazy.
My boy Frankie lives in Hollywood, and he was telling me like during like the height of the shit, he was like, I think it was him who was telling me about like the leader of the Crips or the Bloods or something left California because the guy was like, it's getting too crazy. Like everyone's leaving. Yeah,
it's just fucking nuts, dude.
I think it was Frankie. That's why I can't.
Dude, it literally, it's like Zombie Town. That's what's taken over. It's like Zombie Town. It's like literally like The Walking Dead, dude. It's fucked. That's why everyone's just like, dude, when the word crazy is literal. Yeah.
That's like even like Boston. Like you remember like years ago, you go to shows in Boston, you go Mass Ave, it was fucking bananas. And now then it was cleaned up for so long, and now it's back like that again. Yeah, it's back like that again. Yeah. It's Wild West when you get off the Mass Ave exit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's a common thread for that whole thing, but we won't go into that.
Yeah. So fuck, man. What else is going on? Like, so when did you pursue a degree in graphic design?
Yeah, I went to UMass.
Yeah.
UMass Dartmouth. 87, way back.
Okay, so it was back in the day.
Yeah, actually, no, hold on. I graduated. I won't get my age away. Anyways, I went like 5 years after high school. And I went because I was bored.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
But, that was when grunge came around and fucked my whole thing up,
Yeah.
So anyways, I went to school and I started getting into graphic design and computer animation and audio and the whole multimedia thing, but it was just starting. Yeah, very primitive,
So did you stay with it through the years?
Well, I did because I liked it anyways.
Yeah.
And then what I ended up doing was
you edited on like Avid system.
Oh god, dude, Avid system and using freaking Digital Performer 1 and Pro Tools 1 and all that wild old MIDI shit, Yeah.
But
then freaking I graduated from that. And funny thing about graduation, right? I walked across stage And I did the fucking sign of the hammer from Manowar walking across stage to my friends. Who knew?
Yeah,
who knew?
Does someone have a picture of that? You can show that to
Yes,
Ross?
I have the picture. I fucking do. I gotta show that to Ross. Oh my God.
Actually, what you gotta do is put that on a flyer or something, like sneak it into something. Like
That would be great. That's a great idea.
On the best of record. Put it on the best of record. Sneak it on.
Damn, I forgot about that. Damn it. That would have been great. I gotta do that. It's gonna be, that's a good one. Thank you. That's amazing. Yeah, and then I went to, then some years later, I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to try to go get my master's at RISD for this stuff. So I went and did that.
Nice.
And then I got out of that, and I went to go work in the biz, and the corporate world was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, basically, you know what, I swear to you, the first job, it was like, I was getting like, remember, this is way back when, I was like $45 an hour to start, right?
Wow, yeah.
Up in Boston.
Yeah.
Freaking 3 days driving into that, I was already out of my mind. It was like the summer. It was miserable, right?
Yeah.
Then I had this fucking boss that was the biggest douchebag. He was the guy that was like in charge, but didn't know shit about fucking design.
Yeah.
I basically turned around, I fucking looked at him and I go, dude, go fuck yourself. I'm out of here. I fucking left. I never did it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I tried going in the regular world too for a while, and we're not cut from that cloth, man. And
nope.
Yeah. I'll take way less and just to do my own thing.
Yeah. And that's how that's when I ended up getting into building sheds and carpentry. And found out that I was good at it.
Yeah.
And I started doing that, and the money was really good in that. And I was still playing, but local, nothing happening, And I did, I tried to live a regular life that lasted 8 months.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play no more. It's a pipe dream. I used to love that one. It's a pipe dream, man. You're wasting your time. And at one point, I was just so discouraged. I was like, 8 months. I'm like, dude, I gotta fucking play. I don't give a shit if it's at the bar. I don't care,
Yeah.
And I was like, hell with this. I'll, keep doing the shit. And then I was like, why am I making money for everybody else?
Yeah.
I was like, screw it. So I started my own shed business, and I started doing that. And I still do it now. Not that much now, but
no, you can be more selective.
Yeah, I've done 25 years. I mean, literally, I could build you a shed we could write a song while I'm building a shed because I don't even have to think about it anymore,
Yeah.
But I enjoy it, but my body doesn't like it that much anymore, But so that's when like a couple of years ago, I says, my girlfriend is an art director at Warner Brothers.
Okay.
So she's an artist.
Yeah.
And I was always doing a lot of album cover work and stuff, and I started doing a lot for like Ross, and I started doing a lot for other people. And she's like, why don't you do this for a business? Why don't you start making money off of this? I go, we pay people a lot of money to do the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
At first I was like, I'm not gonna do that, And then I said, fuck it, let's do it. And it's working.
Yeah, man.
So, and the key was that I wanted to build that business up so that I could always do it from anywhere I was. I didn't want to have to be somewhere, because I don't want to, like I'm here.
You don't want to say no to a tour.
Right. And I don't want to, and I want to move to someplace away from humans. And I'm still going to work so I can work from my, with my 10 dogs and my lake view. I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I get it. That's a dream. So what's the longest you've gone without doing music?
That was it. 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, it was 8 months of the worst time of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny too because
it's probably novel. Like the first couple of weeks, you're like, oh man, look at this. I'm just doing this. Shit.
But the funny thing is like I had the 70-hour-a-week job. I had the freaking $500,000 house on the Cape and the nice car and the nice girlfriend and the dog and brand new everything, and everything was grand.
Yeah.
And to be like, dude, what am I doing? I'm fucking, all I do is work. The best thing of my day is my dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even want to look there. I'm like, dude, no. Yeah. I'm gonna give me back the medal. Fuck this. I don't care about the money.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. So, I had some. I forgot. Fuck off. But yeah, man. Look, so finding touring later in life. Like, are you like addicted to it still? Like, do you still love it, or is it like? Because I know a lot of dudes that have toured for a long time and they're like, they're so over it. Are you still like? I love it because I don't do it enough.
Yeah,
I haven't done it enough to where I'd be like pissed about it.
I love it, but now I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. When you fucking start touring the right way, you never want to go back to the old way. When you start doing the double-decker buses and you're doing the nightliners and you're doing the 5-star hotels and all that shit, it's tough to fucking go, hey, you want to go play a week in South America in a van? No. I'm being straight out, man. You know? I put it this way. I've done, even though I haven't done it for like 20 years of like touring, and I've been doing it for 20 years, probably 10 times worse. You know, but over the last 6 years, I mean, dude, it's been nonstop grind. You know what I mean? So when the first time we did the bus tour, I really was like, this is the greatest thing. I always want to do this. I sleep better in the bus than I do at home. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up. I'm very envious of that. I couldn't sleep on that. Like, cause I'm a side sleeper, and those catacombs, dude. Like, I was like, and you know what I did find too, like, is when I'd get out of the bunk and I'd be like on flat ground, I still felt like I was moving, like the bus.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, but I think I don't got sea legs. You know what I mean?
Like, it's so funny. Like you get you develop these things that you have to have when you're on the road. Like, the funny thing is you always hear the stories. This is great. You always hear the stories of all these crazy outlandish things that people ask for, right?
On the riders or whatever.
So like, you know, every time, and once a year, you always have to redo your rider. So every time they come in the rider, and you know me, dude, the number one thing on the rider is pizza. Have to have fucking pizza, right? And I'm very simple: pizza, water, a little honey. Now I got you have to have try to be healthy and have an avocado, hard-boiled egg, or something decent. You know, I'm not trying, no junk food. You got to stay healthy. You know. So it's
no junk food, just pizza.
Yeah. That is that, dude. That's not junk food.
it's dairy,
exactly,
and tomatoes.
Exactly. Well, the funny thing is I ask for pizza. I get it. It's for everybody. And I usually, if I'm lucky, I'll probably only eat one because I always eat after the show. And I'm usually never hungry. That's why I lose so much weight on the road, because I never hardly eat. You know, because I'm always worried about the show, you know?
Sure.
So all these crazy things that people ask for, you know, outlandish things, mine's like beyond stupid simple. But people are like, dude, that's it. And I go, but there's a catch. They're like, well, what is it? I go, let's get to the bus part. They're like, well, what do you mean? I go, well, here's my deal. Top bunk, front of the bus, furthest away from the staircase. That's number one. And I need a minimum of 3 pillows. That's my deal. They're like, yeah, that's it? I go, yeah. I go, that's all I asked for.
You want the quiet zone?
I always have to, yeah. And they're like, that's not much of a demand. I go, well, for me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. That's my wild tour, fucking rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Where have you gone where the pizza's been the best?
You're gonna ready?
That's why I'm asking, because I know it's not gonna. You're not gonna say Italy. You know what I mean?
Dude, the funny thing is, like, outside of the U.S.
That's what I meant. Like,
okay, outside of the U.S., the best pizza I had was in Scotland.
Really?
Yes. That was the weirdest thing. We were in Glasgow. Yeah. And we were there for like 3 days for some reason before we started that leg of the tour. And I went to this place and I ate there every day. And it was like a wood pizza, and they had this like special like oils, and it was just very, you know, most of the people from these places are from other countries anyways with the culinary, you know. And believe it or not, another pizza that I had that was freaking amazing was in Romania. a buddy of mine goes, you got to come to this place because I know how much you love pizza. And it's owned by an Italian family.
Okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, whatever. I get the pizza. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what the fuck? This is pretty fucking good. But the ultimate question always comes to me. What's your favorite pizza in the world?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Okay.
It's right down the street. Pie Rapids.
Oh, dude, that's quintessential New Bedford style.
That's it, baby. Baby, that's it. But if interestingly, I love that. I love whatchamacallit, Palace Pizza.
Yeah.
Because that's Greek style.
So which one?
The one on
Kempton?
King's Highway.
King's Highway. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that
one. There was
one.
a Palace Pizza in Dartmouth too. It's the same place. And it was inconsistent. It just all depends on who's making it. Because the ingredients are all the same.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have that consistency.
Like, this is fucking great. And then sometimes you're like, yeah, it's fucking cardboard.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was like, I would, it's one of my ones that I like, but it's funny. My buddies and they found this new place in Providence called Jeff's Pizza. Oh my.
I've heard of it, but I haven't been there.
Dude. Number two, it's gone to number two. It's amazing.
Number two of all time?
Number two of all time, dude. It's amazing. I couldn't believe how good it was. And I don't, usually, I mean, I like pizza, so I'll be like, it's good, it's cool, I'm really good. But this one was like, literally, we're all there. I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is like it just had something that made it different. You know what I mean? And it was so good. And I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I got to go over this. And so because we had the pizza rivalry with Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
They're snobs. They think they have the best pizza in the world. You don't. You go, Pepe's. Yeah, whatever. You burn it. Yeah. And the Sally's, you burn it there too. Yeah. I'm like, you guys, overhyped. Overhyped, man. Yeah. Overhyped.
Oh, what's that? What was that movie?
Mystic Pizza.
Mystic Pizza.
Yeah, right.
Now, so are you at a point in your sobriety? Are you comfortable going into a bar?
Oh, dude, I can grab it now and sniff it. And fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I asked this because this is an important question. Because me and my business partner Packer, who's also in my band, is in Slapshot and owns the bar with me. We've been making. We're going to be doing a South Shore style bar pizza at the Dipper. We already got the oven. We just got to get all the permit and everything. And we've been working on recipes. He's been spearheading it. And we make the cheese, like we grind our own cheese. We make our own dough, make the sauce. So I need you to come. I need an expert opinion. I need an expert opinion. I'll just bring one to you. You don't have to come to the bar. That's what I was going to say. If you're comfortable coming to the bar, come for the whole experience.
Oh, dude, I'll come to the bar. Yeah, dude, I'm good. Yeah. A lot of, thank you for asking, but a lot of people do ask that. It's wild, too, because, like, I remember, funny, that Serbia thing that happened, right? I went alone, and
that's when, obviously, that's when.
Yeah, I was just sober, but it was still early, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, that was another pivotal thing. What a night. Obviously, the hospitality, they started just loading my table with drinks.
Yeah.
And for a split second, I was like, I could drink all of this. No one's ever going to know. Because no one's here. No one knows me. Yeah. I could do this totally. And I looked at it and went, but I'll know.
Yeah.
And it'll fuck me up. And I said, nah, dude, thank you. Can I get an apple juice? And they were kind of like, I'm like, no, I have to sing tomorrow. I go, I didn't even want to be, I didn't want to be rude, And I was just, and they were like, oh, that's cool, man.
They get it, yeah.
Yeah, so I drank apple juice all night. Yeah. But that was a really big thing because I was like, I could just totally down all this shit and no one's going to know ever.
Yeah.
But I would. That's how I knew I was like, all right, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. So the day you quit, you just were like, switch flipped and you decided.
Yeah.
And then were you just able to maintain? Like, you made the decision?
Did you
go through a lot of withdrawals?
Dude.
People don't understand.
They don't.
That's the hardest drug to quit.
Dude.
You could die if you don't. If you're really bad alcoholic and you quit cold turkey, you could die.
Yeah, dude. I literally, I saw some shit. I saw like freaking shadows coming out of my wall and stuff. I was like, what the fuck? They're coming to get me. Fuck this. I was, dude. I never thought that you could have a withdrawal from stop drinking, but dude, it was brutal, man.
Yeah.
But I was done. I just had it.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, there's no benefit. I was like, you know, I was like, there's no way. And it sucked because I lost a lot of friends. You know what I mean? Because that party, I was, you know, always the center of the fucking party, and I was a wild one. Marc will do it. He's crazy. Yeah.
I've run into you a few times through the years when you've been on one. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, you know.
And it's fun, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what, dude? So I had to withdraw from everybody, and that's why I took off.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, well, what can I do that will, like, you know, what can I do that I like to do that's going to take me away from everything and put me in a totally, you know, make yourself, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but put yourself in a totally different element that you don't know anything about and just go.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea. You know, I just went.
How long after you quit did you take that trip?
I think it was like maybe, what was it, July? I went in like August, probably like about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, so you got the shit out of your system kind of.
Yeah, and it was wild too because I ended up meeting some people out on the journeys, and like, what's the first thing we want to do?
Yeah, hey,
let's go to the bar. I would go. And I was shocked, but I was determined, and I was doing it on purpose. I was testing myself. You know, so I just went to watch the bands and hang out and watch everybody else get drunk, and then realize, wow, what an idiot I must have looked like.
Yeah.
You know, no great decisions ever happen drunk.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you had that clarity, like to be able, well, one, to just you had that willpower to just flip that switch and stick with it, but then afterwards have that clarity, be like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for me that a lot of people that dealt with it, I didn't go and get any help. I just did it.
Yeah.
You know, I ended up having to go to therapy and stuff after because of having to deal with my depression, because it really fucking kicked in after.
Yeah.
But
because now you're really dealing with shit instead of drinking and not dealing with it.
So I had to deal with that, which that was a whole, you know, that's a never ending battle, but, you know, definitely got a much, much better handle on it nowadays. But, you know, but back then it was like everybody was like, I can't believe that you just did it. I was like, you come to a point in your life sometimes where you're just like, dude, I'm done. I'm just done. Done. I don't want to fucking look at it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's really what it comes down to. And some people don't have that kind of willpower to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just was like, I just started, I'm like, I'm going to work out more. I'm going to, you know, sing more. I'm going to work more. I just decided to do other things to try to fill my time with, you know?
More productive things.
Right. It's true.
And the good thing is you have an outlet for that because you have a whole studio at your house.
Right.
Like you're not dependent on anybody. Like if you want to record something, and you play multiple instruments, so you can fuck around and
Yeah, that's what and a good thing, because it's like after that I was like, all right, let's go. Yeah. You know, boom, you know, off and running.
Yeah. Well, fuck yeah, man. That's awesome, man. I'm stoked for you.
Thank you, man.
On all these fronts, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't even know about the sobriety, like, because we haven't talked much.
Right.
That's why I was asking earlier, what do you want, you know? But yeah, man, fucking, what else, dude? I know we're like an hour and 40 minutes into this, dude.
It's okay.
Crazy.
You can edit it, but
no. I've run them like people. You know, you can see the people listen to the whole thing. Yeah. So it's good.
Well, you know, it's funny.
I don't break them up either and try and milk it for 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Let it run. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just want to touch on the point. You know, where we started. Like, we were talking about the hardcore and the metal thing. Because it's like ever since we had that conversation quickly in the parking lot, I was thinking about it a lot. And like, only reason why I was thinking about it is it's like, you know.
I know these stools are mad uncomfortable.
No. I'm just, it made me think, like, you know, like we think, you know, the state of the things, the way things are in the world, right? And I'm not going to dig into that, obviously, but I'm just saying, like the way that things are in the world where there's so much separation, so to say.
Yeah.
And like
division.
Right. The division, the unnecessary division.
Yeah.
You know, and I think about, like, you know, how back in the day, how many different types of people and how many different types of genres of music and different backgrounds, and it didn't matter to us.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, you're like, all right, well, there was a hardcore and the metal thing. that was a tribal thing. I think everybody was territorial of their thing because they felt it. It was a personal, you know, it was like, this is my stuff and I don't want you to come into my freaking sandbox. Because everybody was prideful of their thing.
And they were just protective.
Exactly. They were very protective of it, and which I get, you know. But as time's gone on, you see how things have melded. And to me, that's how it should be. You know what I mean? And like I see it, and I see people like, you know, fucking the internet was a great invention, but also the downward spiral of mankind, you know? And it sucks because, you know, like, here I am. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I love this terror band. Probably somebody's going, oh, he's a fucking poser because he's a metalhead and he likes fucking hardcore. I'd be like, what? I don't think you're going to get that as much more.
I think that's 80, 85, 86 more.
You know, and I would hope that wouldn't be that, you know, because it's like, I'm like, wow, how cool. I'm like, I feel.
It's probably more accepted that you like that than you like the band that would be called false metal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
That would be more judgy.
Right, exactly.
Metal got way more judgier than it used to be.
Dude, so like, stupid. False metal, dude, shut up. Dude, once in a while, Ross will do that. He'll go, dude, that's false metal. I'm like, dude, no, you're false metal. Shut up. But, you know, it's I even like, you know, the whole movement with like women in metal, right? Dude, I remember we just last tour, we had an all female band with us. They were great. They were awesome. I never had a fucking problem with that ever. I mean, shit, growing up, Lita Ford, Pat, you know, we loved all the, dude, great artist, or Wendy O. Williams, you know what I mean? So even that, you know, I hate when people try to make it like there's some kind of division. But there really isn't, because it's all one and the same. You know what I mean? Music is beautiful. It just, you might like one thing I'm not from, but like it shouldn't matter about sex, gender, where you come from, anything. It doesn't fucking matter. It's all about the music and how you feel about it, and if it's being played for the real reason. That's how it's been for me. You know, that's why I said before, it doesn't matter what kind of music, but if it's real,
you know it. You can sense it.
Dude, it's the best way to be, man. You know, it's like, how can you deny it?
You can see right through it, yeah. And that's what I've always judged shit on. Like that's fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? You can tell these dudes are faking, you know what I mean? It's just, or trying to jump on a
bandwagon. Oh, the worst, you know? And that's the thing. It's just like
a fourth-rate carbon copy of like
Slipknot, 15 Slipknots and 15, you know, of this band and that band. It's already broke the mold, and now everybody's trying to follow it. I know, you know. I've just, you know, it kills me because, I mean, I get it, but at the same, there's nothing wrong with being influenced. No. But when people start blatantly ripping it off, it's like, dude, you're gonna try to convince me that you're really feeling this right now. Nah, dude. What were you doing 6 months ago? You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, dude. I mean, it's okay to be influenced by it and have a little thing about it. You know what I mean? Everybody's got influences. But when you blatantly are jumping on a bandwagon, it's like, come on, man. You know? If
you're going to jump on a genre type bandwagon, at least bring your own thing to it.
Right, it's okay to jump into a genre. But you know, but don't blatantly rip off that style. You know,
and then try and open for that band.
It's like, dude, Korn's the big thing. Every band sounded like Korn. Oh, you freaking Slipknot to be. Everybody wore a mask. You know, it's always the constant thing. Everybody wants to be Ghost now. You know, it's like, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's like, okay, I get it. That's cool and stuff. And I mean, I'm sure you want to borrow a little cool thing about that, but you automatically know that you just stole that from somebody else, man, you know?
No, that's it too. There are times where people like come up with similar riffs. And
well, that's I get that. I get that. I mean, especially with hardcore, you know, you guys are, it's a lot of repetitive type of thing, but what differentiates it is the attitude and how it's put across. That's how I find it. Same thing with like some of the thrash metal bands. They're all doing the same fucking riffs. It's just it's but how they exactly. You know, I mean, dude, let's be honest. We're singing in fucking a freaking 5-note margin anyways and playing 5 chords, you know what I mean? It is what it is. How many weeks can you put 5 chords together, you know? It's just, we're all guilty of it.
How stylistically do you do it? You know
exactly,
I mean? Fuck yeah. Where can people find out more about you and what you got going on? Shout out some of your social media.
Dude.
Or the band's social medias. And I'll put all these in the show notes as well.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's easy. Marc Lopes. You just look it up. You can find me easy as pie. And you go to YouTube, you'll fucking 400 videos will pop up and 380 of them I wish weren't there, but now I'm kidding, you know.
Everyone's gonna go look for that, for that first performance.
Yes, dude, that's the best one. I was like, oh.
You're like holding an iPhone, looking at the words.
What the fuck is this guy doing? He's a real pro.
Yeah, but fuck it, you stuck it out and you fucking. Look what it turned into, man.
Who thought at this point in life living the dream?
Yeah, man.
You know, I mean, the best part for me, honestly, is I'm always a fan of the bands. And that's what, it's funny, you get a lot of these people that have been in the business for a while that I work with, and they get such a kick out of how excited I get.
Sure.
Because
it's a breath of fresh air.
Because they're like, dude, no one gets excited. Like we played with Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween was always been one of my favorite bands. I fucking nerded out. Like, dude, it was like, I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to meet everybody. Dude, I felt like I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah. You know, like when King Diamond, I was like, oh my God, like 15-year-old Marc's dying right now. This is the greatest thing. And now you're playing in the band that was your favorite band when you were like 13, you know?
Isn't that a funny marker in life? Like that, like when you're like, oh, 13-year-old me would be so fucking stoked right now. But you're still stoked as like a grown ass man.
Exactly.
But you're using that as a marker, like, oh man, when I was a kid, like if I could look into the future, I'd be like, oh, I'm still cool, like, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Dude, I honestly, like, I just, like, so many crazy fan things have happened for me where I literally pinch myself going, teenage Mark just, he would never believe any of this was ever going to happen.
Yeah.
He never would. He never would.
You wanted it to happen, but you didn't believe it could, but you stick with it, man. And that's like I think that's the morals, man. Of the story. Stick with it. Something you love, stick with it. And keep putting in the time and be there. Don't just fucking hang at home and wait for something to happen.
Dude,
you gotta make that shit happen.
The dream is real. I'm gonna tell you, the dream is real because 2016, August, I'll never forget it. I was sitting in my room, I was just newly sober. I was watching a live stream of Iron Maiden at Wacken. August 2017, I was on the fucking live stream playing the same stage in front of 90,000 people at Wacken.
Yeah.
The dream's real, dude. It can happen. It fucking can happen, dude. I'm living proof of it, and it doesn't matter how fucking old you are.
Yeah.
If you freaking still can get your ass out of fucking bed in the morning and have the desire and the will and fucking just want to kill it, like I say every day, you can do anything. You can.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Dude, if it all ended tomorrow, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude, it's cool with me.
You did it. Like, what am I going to do? Tour South America again?
Yeah, dude. I'm like, I'm all set, dude, you know?
Well, fuck yeah, man. I think that's a good way to fucking end this, man.
And hey, on another note, I'm glad that you're still doing it. And I'm glad that you're out there, dude. When I saw that you were out in Prague, I was like, fuck, dude, that's awesome. I love Prague. And I'm like, I'm glad that you're out there still killing it, man.
Much smaller scale. Much smaller
but
scale.
Dude,
it don't matter.
Dude, you're still doing it.
But you know, the crazy thing is, right? And it was like, so I'm out there, and George, who used to play in ITI a little bit later, is out there with Drop Dead, because he's in Drop Dead now. Drop Dead and Napalm Death are touring.
That's great.
And we're 3 days away from each other. So like we'd play a venue and 3 days later they were there and vice versa. So we were just talking shit. I'm like, isn't it crazy, dude? We're at this stage in life and we're all still doing this shit.
Exactly.
And you know, like, and we were both on like the double-decker bus, like sleeping bus. And like,
that's
fuck yeah, dude.
what I'm saying, dude.
It's fucking rad, right?
Dude, exactly, dude. Like you said, if you love something enough and you just keep at it and you keep chipping away at it and you're always just trying to always be better, you know what I mean, for yourself, you know, you're going to crack the fucking seam somehow. Yeah. You will, you know what I mean? Honestly. And you know, you just have to you got to have the will. You got to fight. You got to go for it. It's not going to come to you.
Nope.
Never going to come to you.
And even if it does come to you, it's come to you because of all the shit you laid down in the groundwork you laid down to get yourself in that position for it to come to you.
Right. And the reason it's coming to you is because you're ready for that opportunity. Yeah. It's not just coming to you because you were hanging out at home going, oh, wow, That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like I haven't done it in 6 years. It ain't happening like that. You did it 6 hours ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Well, this was good, man. And we definitely got to catch up after you get the record out and the touring out, so we can get a little more in depth on the stuff that you can't talk about right now.
We'll be definitely staying in touch, man.
Oh, fuck
You'll know I'm home when you see me at the gym in the morning. I'll be like, hey, what's up? I'm back. I'm back.
I'm usually coming in right as you're like on the tail end.
Yeah, I go in at like 6.
Yeah.
5:36. I'm an
you're
idiot.
bananas, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Because I feel like I'm going early and but I'm like, now I'm gonna have to go early. Yeah,
I love it. The only reason why I like to do it early is because then it's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Because if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I'm not going because I get wrapped up and running around.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
as soon as
I would like to go later, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
do it.
I'll be freaking. Sometimes I'm going to the gym and I'm like half awake and I'm like, I gotta freaking get going. And but if I don't do it, then as soon as I start doing anything, I'm done. I'm like, I'm not gonna, be in the middle of. I'm not gonna leave now. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Like I gotta go to the gym. Like fucking. Sometimes, dude, I'll sometimes get up at 5 to go to the gym if I have to do something else that's earlier. I'm like, I gotta go. Yeah. It's kind of like an obsession, fucking brain thing. It just feels good to be able to do it.
It's a healthier addiction.
Yeah, exactly. It's just feel better about doing it. Even sometimes if the workout's not so great, at least
it's better than nothing.
Yeah, at least I went and I freaking gave everything I could at the time.
You're not going to do 110% every day.
Nah.
You can try.
Yeah, you can try. I mean, that's always the goal.
Right, yeah.
So you get 90, you get 70, sometimes 50, sometimes 20.
20's better than 0, right? As long as you don't use that as an excuse every time. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, fuck yeah, man. Well, we'll be talking soon, dude.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. This was so great.
I'm glad. It's so much better too when I can have people in the studio versus like on the phone or like on video and all that. That's something I'm going to pick your brain about off thing. Like I do want to stop incorporating a video element to this.
Yeah.
And you might know some good tricks.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, let's end this right here.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Are you ready to give your space a new pop of color? Start with top paint brands at Lowe's for less. Right now, you can buy one, get one 50% off 1-gallon cans and 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Paint and Cabot Exterior Stains via gift card rebate. Head to your local Lowe's or visit Lowes.com today to get started on your next paint project. Lowe's knows home improvement. See store Lowes.com for details. Valid through 4/12.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.